I appreciate that, Travis. Passports up, everything else down. The man, the myth, the legend. You already know. I'm just really just chilling. What y'all up to? Listen, just want to come around and say this. I appreciate all of you for what you guys have been doing for this channel. I just dropped a new book called American Marriage. American Marriage Caused Overseas Options. That's my new book. So hopefully y'all grab a copy. No one has grabbed a copy yet, but hopefully y'all will. Um, I do a thorough breakdown on a society putting women over men, especially in marriages and what it causes. So that's just I got a book out there. Y'all go cop it. Y'all love it. I'm gonna put it in audiobook form tomorrow. Um, Traveler quadruple four in the building. Salute to that OG. Uh, hopefully I'm not lagging. I get bad connection in Miami, so hopefully I'm not lagging. I gotta take this thing out. I should go get my other earpiece. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me make it better for y'all. Hold on. Can y'all hear me now? Y'all should be able to hear me now. Okay, so we good. Appreciate you. Um, the book is called, like I said, American Marriage Caused Overseas Options. So it's a powerful book. I dropped so many gems, like my conversation and my understanding of geopolitical stances and positioning. Um,
is starting to grow. Um, when we talk about GDP, that's hogwash. When we talk about the cultural endeavors of different nations, that you got to think about colonization. You got to think about men's choices, because you got to think back in the day, the government had this gender political role positioning that they presented to certain communities, and a lot of guys don't understand that. They just want to blame women, blame women. Now, women, their choices were in opposition to men inadvertently or directly. And you got to think about that dichotomy. I use dichotomy in quotes because don't hold me on that. But men start going overseas not knowing that the elites position this to be. Now, are they wanting this now in 2025? That's yet to be determined. But as we know, as of now, when we look at Algeria, when we look at India, when we look at Nigeria, countries that place women over men, it was detrimental for those countries. Brother Zeke, what up, yo? It was detrimental to those countries. And it was a forfeiture of the man's power simply because they didn't have the resources. They were iced out of positions. So when you look at different countries and the process to placing women over men caused societies to falter and not become as that familiar stronghold as they could have when you remove men. This was a political agenda levied on us by the elites or those in power. And you say, but men, but women. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. Travel Quadruple 4 said, I can't find your book on any of the sites I'm checking. It's on there. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. So it's called American Marriage Caused Overseas Options. It's on Amazon. In my community section on YouTube, you got to go to the community section. I put the cover of the book on there so you can find it. But yeah, it's on there. And just think about that. So when we delve into what happened in certain communities or societies or nations, we see that they haven't grown. They've only worsened. It's just different. What up, yo? They've they push men out. Now, elites wanted to profit from this. Governments wanted to profit from this in the United States of America to push men out so that way it can lessen the stronghold in these communities with men gone. So now, what they did was give women soft power. That's what they did. They Women were given soft power, meaning in these industries or jobs, they'll put women as at the forefront, and women thought that they had power because of it, right? They'll put them in educational. They put them in positions of early education. They've given women political power and the decision to make the vote within the family. And this is why some vote more Democratic than they do any other party. Um, and we look at all of these these actions of the elites and what they propagated to the women now in power. But all it did was harm, because now you leave the family vulnerable, as we know. Most people have talked about this. So this is nothing new under the sun. They put women in positions of power, soft power, not true power. And women thought, okay, well, let me levy this degradation of words or verbiage toward the men of said families or communities, and it backfired, because now they see the women are weak, and what does the government do? They come in and they pounce. Um, he said, "Great, I just ordered it." Salute to you, OG. Appreciate you, brother. And then we see this archaic realm, or this archaic grounding of old laws and mindsets of the elites. The elites never put their children, or not even children, their women, their families, in this power position seat because they knew what it would entail. But they did that to the most vulnerable of our society, the people that they knew would placate to their direction. Pat, what up? Salute to Pat. What up, brother? So I wrote the book and I said men saw this. Now you have the men, the very men that they want to push out of the family structure, communities, and now these men are going overseas. And I give numbers on it. Um, I give you the position what we have now, where women work indoors. Mostly 80+% of the time, women work in jobs where they're indoors. But when those jobs cease to exist, the women are left trying to maintain families in these proverbial positions. But if they remove the women from there, now the women are very vulnerable. And they didn't understand that. So now, as technology increases, women are going to lose their power seat, their soft power seats. And they didn't understand it, but a lot of men who are who are mentally strong understand this. And we see this now. But communities, when I come to a place like Florida and so many others, but I must speak specifically. 20 years in Atlanta, now in Florida, you see that the familiar structure in a lot of these places are still intact. It's just the areas where women want to carry the mantle to say, I'm this, I'm that, um, to take on this doesn't work. Because when they start removing women from these jobs, or these jobs become obsolete, or they're not, they begin to fire women, it grows to how women are going to need the idea of men. See, what these landlords are doing, they bringing landlords in, as you see in the hotel industry. There's Indian nations that are coming in, buying up hotel businesses and running them. You see that in housing, where people from different nations are coming in to stamp housing and then push those of those communities out. Uh, and they're doing it every day. And women thought, amongst all of this, that they had this educational power, and it's just soft power, and it didn't mean anything. where they put in these government seats and these, and then now that those are dwindling, because even in Georgia, you heard me mention this before, but they even got machines where you can go to the machines in grocery stores and do what they put the soft power in women's hands. Now they took it from them and said, well, let's just put this in machines, it's more convenient. And they didn't understand that. Now you see a nation full of women and men are at a divide where there's hostility, where there's hatred, where there's meanness on both sides. And who's going to win in this? I want men to win. I clearly want men to win in this whole paradigm. And I'm talking about this specifically. I'm not talking about any other position that we can talk about. How can men win? Just think about this, right? If you're overseas, and these are several accounts of this happening, if you're overseas, the family loves you, they embrace you, they see you taking care of your child overseas if you have a child overseas, or if you have a marriage overseas. They see that you're taking care of your seed overseas, the family love you, you've thrown the father, mother, or something like that, a couple coins, not much. I'm not talking about thousands of dollars. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about even as little as $100, right? The family will change their stance on how they feel about you over time. And they'll be like, man, this is a good guy. He's taking care of his kid. He's sending money to take care of his child. I like this guy. So when you come into it where the woman is being influenced by things that are happening in the United States of America, and they want to bring chaos to the familiar structure overseas, the family cohesion overseas. They want to bring turmoil. They want to bring division. And they're foreign women. The family will side with the American man or the man from that Western nation who've injected himself into wanting to be a part of the child's life, even if they don't get along. Now, if you're in a healthy marriage overseas to a foreign woman, that's different. But I'm talking about if you... So, the family most times side with the men in those aspects as a way to say to her, I know you're my daughter, I know you're my child, but you're wrong in this aspect. And I'm glad you see those. That's how men win in those instances right there. Because in the United States of America, if you have that same example, or the women will side with the woman causing destruction, even the boys or men will side with the woman knowing that she's causing chaos to the family. They don't do that overseas. That's how men win. And you might not like it because men are your enemy, but I'm trying to bring men and women back together by telling us, like, all men are not going overseas for sexual gratification. All men are not going overseas. Now, again, you got the small fraction, but it's not even a 4% of men that can affect what we're doing. Now, this is something that's new. It has never been presented. We got a small sample size of this as of yet. So we don't know the true numbers of what's going to be beneficial for men because there's a small sample size of this example. So when these men look at their uncles, what they've gone through, their fathers, what they've gone through in the United States of America with child support and family court issues, we see these things where there's a fight or flight mentality. And for men, it's a flight mentality because they like, okay, I see my uncle going through it. I saw my brother. He's good. He's trying to take it. But all of these occurrences are happening where they're giving trouble to this man who's trying to take care of their family. So the next man up that's coming up, or generation, they like, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to. I might as well see what these guys overseas are doing, so I can implement that in my life, and hopefully I can. It can be better for me in the familiar structure that I'm trying to tackle. So people say, well, how can you be a family if you're not there and you're over and you just come in to visit? That's not the way they think overseas. That's not the way they think. You got to make your resources or your money here, and then you create that stronghold, and financially and economically, and it still will 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 benefit you for sending something overseas to the family that you created. Now, most men are now turning another eye. They're not mongers anymore. You still have those guys, right, that go overseas and they just want to get their rocks off. And I can't ever knock that because of their experiences in the United States of America. But what we can say is that these men are turning from what they've been relegated to stomach, and it's an inverse of what they know. So they're going overseas and they're trying to do better. And most of these men that I'm speaking to, only I can speak to what I experience in a small sample size that I know of, right? These men do want families. These men do want marriages with women overseas. These men do want a connection, a genuine connection. And when they juxtapose that to what's happening in our current uh, communities or nation, they like, I don't want that. Because men can see how women change when they set foot to the United States of America. I don't care if it's Florida, which is many foreigners who don't even speak English are coming to nation, and you can see a change in them, and they begin to mimic the women in the United States of America, which is not good. So most men say, I'd rather do what a Yesh says. I'd rather do what somebody who has experience with going overseas and has success. I'd rather do what they say. And that's what we see. He said back in 1972, came to the conclusion that the 19th Amendment was a very serious mistake. I'm even more sure of that today. Yes, OG. So you have the elder statesmen, you have the younger statesmen who want something different for themselves. So they see these occurrences and they say, I want change. With that being said, oh shoot. With that being said, it's a you don't have, when you go overseas, you don't have a formidable opponent. Now, it all depends on what countries that you pick. And I give the same details that I've given in the end of the book that I've given to all of my other books. You have to do your research. You have to do your knowledge on what community, what nation of people that you have to present something to. And men are doing just that. So I salute all of the fellas who want more so than to build connections, true connections in relationships and marriages, and they don't have to be governed by the state. The state comes in because they want their resources, they want their finances. That's why, for instance, the basketball player, even though he's not clean in any of this. I'm not saying that. I'm just going to use this as an example. Eddie Curry, they used to play for the Chicago Bulls. You remember, he was the phenom coming out of high school, right? Eddie Curry did the unthinkable. He cheated on his spouse and had two other children. Then the mother of the two other children he had outside of marriage, she passed away. So the mother, the ex-wife of Eddie Curry, said, "I'm going to go after him." But here's the crazy. Just think about this. When he did that, he said, "I'm going to do the right thing. I know I messed up." He admitted to messing up his marriage. But he said, "I'm going to take care of my children, and I'm going to give constantly so that way I'm doing the right thing." So he gave $1 million to her in that time span. Well, she still took him to court. Go look up the case, right? He even did an interview on it. He gave her $1 million. He said, "I'm doing the right thing. I'm paying. I'm doing this." It all came to $1 million. She still went to court and said, "Nope, I'm going to take you to court and act like you haven't done anything." Do you know what the court system said? Even though he brought the receipts to court, he said, "I messed up, but she know I've been doing what I need to do as the father or an ex-husband. So I'm going to continue taking care of my children." And it wasn't good enough. Somebody got in her ear, or they may have it, hadn't. But they got in her ear and they said, "Oh, girl, that ain't enough and you need to go get." So she took him to court. The court system said, "We know you have all of those receipts. We know what you've done, but on the record, it means nothing because you didn't do it through the court system." And guess what the court did? They said, "You got to give her another $1 million." So she took Eddie Curry to court, knowing that he was doing what he doing, giving her buku amounts of money to take care of their children. Even he cheated or so forth. But she still took him to court. They told him on top of the $1 million that he gave her, he had to give her another $1 million to suffice because he didn't do it through the court system. Now, the mother, the ex-wife of Eddie Curry, being bitter and angry, right? And she wanted revenge on him. She doesn't understand that the court has to get a percentage. State, Fed, they have to get a percentage of their money. So by the time they get it to her, it's not going to be $1 million. It's going to be a lot less than that. And she didn't understand that. So, but again, that's something that he had to deal with. But people that hear these stories and say, "Oh yeah, I messed up, my marriage is broken up," which I'm not going to absolve him from that. I'm not. I'm going to keep mentioning it, that he had children outside of marriage and with a woman who passed away. And he had to take on the responsibility of bringing those kids in through his mess up. And look what happened. So I'm not going to absolve him from that. Now, most people would cheer that on. Yeah, he deserved this and yeah, he deserved that. And when guys hear, I was on my brother's TikTok live stream yesterday. And my brother was doing a TikTok live stream. So I came in, right? And so we got into that. We was joking, laughing and joking the entire time. My brother had these women coming in never heard of before. And they're giving their opinions. But we're laughing and cracking jokes. But the conversation got a little serious later on. And when the conversation got later on, there was a guy that came in. His name was Kenny. He's 53 years old. Let me repeat. He's 53 years old. Has no children. And all he does is work and go home. He came into the live stream. Let me repeat. 53 years old, no children, making money so he can put something aside. No marriage, and women, he hasn't had intimacy with a woman in a year. And he tried to explain himself to my brother. Called him weak. My brother called him, it's on him. Y'all know I disagree with that verbiage. My brother said, it's on you. The women are. I told my brother, I said, it's not on him. It's not. It's a nuanced conversation. But my brother went in strictly to attack him, not understanding that women have the choice more so than men to be with men intimately more than men can be with women intimately. Is easy. A woman can walk out in the middle of the street, drop her drawers, and there'd be a million dudes that want to come and mess with her in that fashion. Or they want to date her or take her out or whatever it is, right? So I told my brother, I said, so when my brother, I said, I disagree with you. I said, when somebody who's 53 years old, no children, who has income coming in that he's just putting in the bank, no hiccups, no hangups. I told and all of the people on his panel, I said, when he hears this, he hear you, men like you, come and they attack him for, first of all, for not being able to spread his seed out there or to find what they deem as a suitable mate. This is what makes him more of a recluse. And so so the women were quiet. It was 3 women, it was 3 men. And the women were quiet. And I said he had a fight or flight response because he's looking at the occurrences that happened with his uncle, that happened with his father, that happened with the fellas around him, his friends, and he's looking at that and he doesn't want to take a chance. I even used the term, I told them I was scared. I don't want to have children by somebody in the United States of America because then that takes away from my economic prowess for me. And they agreed. They agreed. So he thought the women were going to side with him. But I could read the chat, and the chat was like, this guy is spitting facts. You can see the comments about me, and he kept trying to cut me off and trying to get the opinion of women. Anybody that tries to, I told him strictly like this, because my brother lives in Jersey and New York, that area. I say any man that wants to date a woman up north, I said he likes men. And everybody froze. I said any man that wants to date or desire a woman from up north, he likes men. And I told him I'm going to write a book on it. And some of the women in the South was like, yeah, 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 yeah. They were congratulating it as a troll mechanism against him. Whether it's a troll or serious, because like they say with all jokes have some semblance of truth in them. Women up north are manly. They are aggressive. They talk hard. They Their demeanor is more of a macho bravado, and they can't harm a fly unless they have a weapon with them. But I said, look at how women maneuver in northern states. They're brutish. They're brutish. He said, I'm an OG, but I'm a different kind of OG. Married 46 years, 5 children. My wife hated feminists. I traveled and experienced much before I got married. Soon to be traveling again. I don't need another woman. Indeed. Hey, travel quadruple before, I agree with you. And so when we look at it in this context, men that have those experiences, what OG just put in there, they don't want to be married again. They've had so many experiences with that. So when you look at guys telling you have to be with a woman to sustain your manly badge, and I'm using that in quotations for those that want to podcast this live stream later. So the manly badge is that you have to be with multiple women, or you got to be messing with the woman for you to be a man. Those days are over. And if you want to hold a man in the United States of America on that same spectrum, then you cannot knock the guys that are going overseas and trying to collect bodies overseas, because in that same vein, or in that same argument, if you want to say men are only worth how many women they can get, well, these guys are going overseas and they're collecting bodies, which I don't agree with at all. I don't agree with going overseas and just collecting bodies. You can still do you. I just don't agree with it, because some men are going over there with disease-ridden bodies, and they want to procreate or have raw interaction with these women, and it's not good knowing that they have these type of diseases, or they have backgrounds like they catching them in Colombia. They're catching these bodies in Colombia and showing these men and refusing them because they have sketchy backgrounds. So me, I'm thinking that the men are going over there because because they want to sow their oats. Again, that's on them. But you can't fault men for having this anger or vitriol or peace, because they see it as peace. They don't have to do the whole dating mechanism that was transfixed in this society. They can do something outside of what's known. Do the elites want this? And the answer can be argued yes. Because if they remove fathers from families and leave women vulnerable, they want this occurrence to happen. Just think about that. They want this to happen. So if they remove fathers from the community, they're like, oh, we don't have to do anything. These guys are going overseas now. They becoming passport bros, blue book gentlemen, or whatever. We want that. We're happy that they're doing that. Are they going to stop it? Don't know. Because they sit in these rooms and they say, well, this is what's going to happen if a number of men, just think about this. If men decide to do this in great numbers, the dating market for these elites or these companies or these powerhouses is going to dwindle. For instance, you heard me mention this in my earlier books. The florist industry is going to dwindle. The holiday industries are going to falter because men are not there to buy Valentine's Day things or Christmas gifts for kids that they don't have, right? Because they're not procreating. The birthday celebrations for these children with the bouncy gyms in the yard and barbecues. Think about how much these industries will suffer because men are going to. Now, here's what's different with what the elites were trying to do, because when the elites removed the fathers from these communities, certain communities, men would still stick around and they would still date. So it's still large percentage of men in populations that will still buy these things because they're still dating. But if you remove men and they get in their mind and the transfixiation does not work, the men will not support these industries. The men will not support these industries, and these industries will, their profit margins will dwindle, and that means job loss. That's what that means. That means job loss. So they put it in their mind that these women are going to be able to sustain these societies if we give them this soft power, and it's not working. Because as you know, men still out on women as a whole. The average man makes $39,999 versus the average woman, depending on race, but they still are making thousands of dollars less than the men in their race, ethnicity, group, and category of color. So just think about that. From what I've seen in the last 20 plus years, I don't blame men for not wanting to marry Western women. I don't blame them either. You don't have to marry Western women, but you have to marry. Um, that's what I'm putting out there. Um, and we see fellas are making that turn toward in that direction. So we can see examples where fellas are going overseas and getting married like never before. My TikTok is full of married guys, American men who went overseas and actually married women in these countries. No fluke, no, they actually married these women on paper. But no one talks about that. So this book is, again, go get the book, go get a copy. It's called American Marriage Caused Overseas Options. Again, American Marriage Caused Overseas Options. It's a powerhouse. Oof. I wish I could talk and express what I mean with that. Now, am I going to make a book or write a book that's opposite of what I'm saying to men? No, I'm not. Because these industries were placed for women to benefit from. I don't care if it's from domestic violence or anything like that. These industries have been put together to support women more so than men. When men don't have anything, men are left to be out in the streets. When women, that's not necessarily the case. They have more avenues and more industries that protect them or help them out when they're in need. So the book is powerful, and I broke it down, and I did it early. I didn't want to wait. As soon as the book opened, I just go in. I go in showing the mindsets of the elites, because marriage was the elites, people that are elitist, right? There was never a thing where they're using marriage as a, no. Marriage was a construct played like for them. It's a game. It wasn't necessarily something that was concrete, something that was, they use it because when you're in businesses or when you have companies, these men would use their wives as a cover-up for what they wanted to do outside of marriage. That's all it was. And think about this. A single man would be outed. You heard Kevin Samuels talk about this often, that most times he had to go pay for a high-end prostitute to come to his events. He said this, not all the time, but he'll pay a high-end prostitute to come to a dinner event with him for his corporate job because he's seen with the woman, because there'll be wives there, and he'll get a high five from the guys in these companies, and they'll say, "Oh, this is good. High five to you for bringing her. Oh man, I had her." You heard the conversation, because they have a different conversation. Marriage is a cover-up, and then many of these elites or people in corporate America, who are upwardly mobile, they wanted to use that as a way to further their lineage because they wanted children. And when you have all of that money coming in, you want to you get bored. You want to do something else. So most of the single men, most of the single men were a threat, and that's why they don't like guys not being married, because it shines a light and say, oh, you're going to hang out with this guy. This guy is single, and so it puts that in the minds of their wives in these industries. So it was all a ploy. The elites never used marriage as a way to be a marker for what they were trying to accomplish. They just used it because that's what it was built. It was etched in society for an upwardly mobile man to be with a woman or be married. So I talk about that all throughout the book. I give a breakdown in the first chapter. Oh, I'm dropping heat in the first chapter. I'm dropping heat in the second chapter. I'm dropping heat in the third chapter. And this is not conjecture. This is actual evidence. And so that's what you do. You just put it in books. It's the best thing to do is put it in books. So, um, roll out Dow. I appreciate it, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate the cash app, brother. So when you have a guy like me who can articulate the ideas of men, the best thing to do, and what I've learned is the best thing to do is to be so grounded in someone's problem or issue that they will want to come to you or talk to you about certain things, because as men we learn to bottle our feelings in and what we feel about societies, and I don't think that's necessarily good for us as men. So that's just how it is. And as men, we got to look out for each other. We have to, especially in the world. Let me just say this, and I know this is going to be controversial, and I'm not leaning to one side. I don't operate like that. I lean to the evidence. I'm going to mention a name. Don't run. Understand where I'm going from this. These industries, like the news industry, is changing. The information industry is changing. This is why they want control of the platforms online. Because let me just give you one example. When you can leave a CNN, a MSNBC, a Fox News, and so forth, right? And people would rather listen to you than listen to major news networks. And I'm using major news network in quote because they don't really do true journalism or anything like that. They're paid to stay quiet or not really disseminate the correct information. But when you have a person like a Candace Owens who can get fired from one of these known powerhouses of information, create her own platform and grow it to what it is now, even considered the top 10 podcasts in the country, the tide is turning. So, and you can see that Tucker Carlson and all of these guys, whether you disagree with them or not, the Dillons, the Pools, and even the guy that y'all don't like, who most people think he doesn't like the skin that he's in, which is the Myron, the guy from the Fresh and Fit podcast, who can start his own and start tackling political issues and being like hard on women and to still be successful. Listen to what I'm saying. To still be successful in that position where you are opposing what society's, you know, the tide is turning. And these major news networks or outlets are not so powerful anymore because of what's happening. People will rather listen to the everyday person than the mainstream. Roll out Dow, he says, still here. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate the Cash App again. Appreciate you, man. So, I want you all to think about that. I want you all to take that in. I want fellas to really have an argument to levy against when you're in these conversations. That's why I can go on any of these TikToks. I can go on any, and when I leave out of there, either the host, which was my brother last night, my own blood brother, the host, or anybody else is not going to like what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is grounded in truth, and you can see that it's happening more and more and more. So just know that you have to articulate yourself if you're going to have these discussions. If not, these women are going to chew a lot of you men up. They're going to chew you up and spit you out because you can't articulate yourself. So these books are made so you can grab the pointers and the numbers and things like that and go with it and make a good valid point instead of being angry or being defensive. No, I sit quiet and let them talk. They can talk for. Listen, I've gotten so good with this that I don't need to take the anger or the vitriol and usage of words and just so visceral with my approach. I don't need to do that. I'll hear them out because he kept cutting me off. You know how people, when you start speaking truth, they begin to cut you off. So I want you guys to read books like this that'll help your argument out. So in the future, I might not be like wholeheartedly, oh man, appreciate that, brother. Shout out to Travel Quadruple 4. Appreciate again, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man. He just dropped a load in there. Woo. Shout out to you, brother. So with that being said, I just want to, one day, it's going to be so powerful that people will say, who wrote this? I need to talk to this guy. And you got to think, I'm etched in the scriptures now, so it's even more of a grounding that's happening with me. When I told them how I removed myself from the dating and marriage market in the United States of America for over 10 years now, it's like their mouths drop. People like, you haven't done what in 10 years? I said, I haven't touched, been with, don't care to be with. And I stay focused and I stay disciplined on my dating and marriage approach in the States is non-existent. I don't care if you got booty shorts on. I don't care what American women have. That's not what especially if I'm working around them, I wouldn't even give it a second glance. That's not the direction I want to go in. I want to go in something that's going to benefit my future. I'm thinking about the future. The older you get, when you start reaching, when you reach the age of 33, 34, you need to start changing. You need to pivot and change up in your life. And I learned that. I learned that from a lot of millionaires. I learned that from just the average everyday Joe who go to work and he's happy. A lot of these guys are truckers. A lot of these guys work in the housing industries. A lot of these guys work in the medical fields. It's a lot of guys in these industries, own businesses, consultants, and different things like that. So Roll out Dow, appreciate it. He said hashtag NOMP, NOMP, nothing over my passport. Salute, brother. Appreciate you again for your cash app. Um, Shout out to Daryl Dundee, is which I know him in the chat, but I call him Rollout Daryl. And salute to you all for going to Mike's um, Cash App and actually donated. Rollout Daryl donated, and Traveler Quadruple 4, which I see in the chat right now, he donated to Mike too. So I appreciate that also. But when you do these live streams, you know what's crazy? You know I got so much content and I got so much to, because it's right here, because of the books I've written. So it's right here. So I can just go to a perfect point that I made in the book that nobody can argue, or that they can argue. It doesn't matter to me. Uh, but I go to those points and I'm able to talk to y'all. I can have long live streams and talk for hours if I want. I can literally do a live stream and talk for hours and don't have to call a woman a name, don't have to call men weak or stuff like that. Now, if I'm joking about something or a topic, I can. There go Dow Dundee right there. Roll out Dow, appreciate it, brother. Um, but I can talk for hours because I have so much written through the pages and don't have to sound redundant. The most skilled speakers are the ones that can pull stuff from their mind right then and there and don't need to look at anything, don't need to study, practice, or anything like that. They could just right off the top. Those are the most sharpest guys that you can meet. So, and this is why you read these books, so you can have these pointers and highlight them. Go get a highlighter and highlight points in them. So when you are having these discussions, what I do is I highlight them in the book, right? And I take a picture of them or a screenshot. And then I put it in my note section of my phone. And that way, when I have a certain discussion, I can go to it. I always got the topics. Okay, if we're talking about the scriptures, I have these scriptures for this argument. If we're talking about dating, I have these dating for this argument or that argument, and I have it and I research it, and so that way I can pull it straight off my mind because I done delve into the information, and that's how you become a better speaker by reading these books and taking something from them. You don't have to sound like the author. You don't. You can put your own little twist on it, but you have that information. And that's a good way for you guys. Fill your whole phone up like I did in your note section on the iPhone and put in, because you get the search in the search bar in the note section on iPhones and go straight to what you want to talk about, the talking points that you have. You can go right to them. So if you're on the phone, if you're on anything, you could go right to it, look at it, and be like, so now when you're in conversation with individuals, they'll be like, oh man, this guy is powerful. No, you just study and you read a lot, so you can just, your mind, and when you begin to read, you become more creative. So that's how it is for me, and that's why when we have these discussions, I can go to, and then when I don't know something or someone, if I'm privy to new information, I go straight, write it down what that person said, and then I go research it on the back end, and that helps you in the future. So when you're at a barbecue, you and your cousins and stuff like that, and they got a friend over, and y'all start discussing that, instead of you sounding angry or frustrated or, or, or raging, you're raging out. You don't need to do that. You sit there calmly. You wait till they begin their point, even if you have to wait 15 minutes. Be slow to speak and swift to hear, and just sit there and be like, okay, I hear you, but this is what I want to. And when they begin to cut you off, you know your voice is powerful, because every time you make a point and and they try to cut you off, that means you're levying a good argument that goes against their notion or their prescribes it. Because most of the arguments I see that people make is what they've heard on a TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. I don't listen to that. I don't want nobody who got trash thoughts in their mind to come across my channel. I just go to the next if I'm on TikTok. If I'm hearing a guy, oh, these guys overseas, or if I go to this country, I don't like this country is so terrible because of this, and don't have no experience in that country, probably been there 2 or 3 times and think they are expert of that country. I don't operate like that. I don't. Um, so I can't put that in my mind. I can't take on those people's arguments because they're biased. So I can easily chew their argument. If I can chew their arguments apart without even knowing the information that they ascertain, then picture what others can do. So just think about that. Just think about that. Take Traveler Quadruple Fours, the way he operates, calm, smooth, not vitriolic or angry, just mellow with it. You can do the same thing, fellas. You can do the same thing. And your stance would be more respected if you operate that. So, um, so that's what I've noticed, yo. And just looking at that thing where the young guys are wearing the quarter zips. People don't even know what quarter zips are. I asked somebody who OG to the young guys, right? He's he's my peer, but he's older than these young guys, 20, 30 years on him. And I asked him, I said, you know what a quarter zip? He didn't even know what a quarter zip is. So it's like, it's crazy when you see society making a 180 and these younger fellas. So the more they wear quarter zips, the more they're going to want to have that high-end mindset. And they can get it from you guys. They can get it from you guys. Average Man Unplugged, what up, brother? Shout out to Rome. He said, what's good? What country you in? I'm in Miami. I'm in Miami right now. I'm in Miami. That's another brother. Average Man Unplugged is another brother out there on these flights in these countries, man. Started out, I remember when he first started. That was crazy. I remember he first started. He took the chance and got out there, and now he's going to all of these countries and gaining his experience from these countries. So that's how you want to be. You don't have any children. You don't have any hang-ups in the United States of America. You get to get on the flight and go. And I appreciate, like, with me, I just get to get on the flight and go. But I'm always put in positions and working where it's just so daunting and takes up so much of my time. So most of my books, I can honestly say, I made good points in a lot of them, but I had to rush a lot of my books because in my mind was so much on work that it hampered my like supreme articulation of points. Okay, I didn't know you back in the States. I'm in Medellin. Oh man, you ain't meet J. Claude and Grego when you ain't hang out with them brothers? Yeah. So and that's another thing. I'll be in two places. I'll be in two different countries during Carnival. I'll be in Brazil and I'll be in Colombia at the same time. So and make sure y'all get your yellow fever shots. He said, nah, they left when I came. Nah, they'll be back. They'll be back. Definitely will be back in a couple days. They told me already they're about to do a quick turnaround. I was like, damn. I think they come back before I leave. Yeah, they do. J. Clyde hit me up. And salute to J. Clyde, man, for making that leap toward marriage. J. Clyde is getting married in Colombia, y'all. He's getting married in Colombia, y'all. I follow Average Man Unplugged, a wonderful channel. Salute to, yeah, Rome is always cool, laid back, and chilling, man. Rome ain't animated like me. Some days I could be animated. I can go off the cuff and say some wild stuff, but Average Man Unplugged, he's always even keel with his personality and demeanor. So yeah, J. Clyde took the lead, man. He was like, and he got a good woman, man. He got a good focused. When they say you can't find somebody in certain countries or regions because it's known to be something for the mongers and you can find that in the midst of all of that. That's what's up. So you can only salute that, and he put it out there for the world to see on Facebook. So everybody who knows Jay Clyde, they giving him congratulations on his soon-to-be wife, man. His soon-to-be wife. I hope Rome doesn't mind an old white OG following. Man, Rome don't care about that. Rome definitely don't care about that. Rome only care about the information and protecting men and shaming these women for their videos. Rome don't care about that. Rome does not. Y'all hit the thumbs up. If you haven't, hit the like button. We only at 6. Hopefully on the playback we could get more likes. Y'all know for years we were talking about window shoppers, guys that come into these platforms, want us to keep going live and wonder why people don't do continuous lives except those dirt balls. Those dirt balls do a lot of lives because they only presenting sex to you all because they think that's all you guys are worth. His channel gives great information. Yeah, he be getting on them. He be getting on them. Man, it's 12 midnight and all of those people are over there. I told you, man, nobody can party like a Cuban. Nobody. I've seen Cubans stay up all night, get up and go to work like ain't nothing, and then go back to drinking at night and get back up the very next day. Cubans got this feistiness in them. They got this resolve and this. I'm like, they 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 fiery too. You think Dominicans are? Nah. Cuban women are fiery. He said, not at all. I've been recognized in other countries from all races. Indeed, 2 passport broke young men, one very popular, may settle down within a year. Yeah, I agree with that. Man, let's just say this. If I had the opportunity right now and I have more time to go overseas, now that I'm in Miami, I'm going to in the next coming months, but at first I had to get settled. Yeah, but I'm going to go overseas like crazy. You know what's I would have been overseas by now, but the only thing holding me back is I gotta get that passport done. I have to. So I told them, I put in position, I say, man, I gotta go get that passport done. I don't care what I gotta do. I gotta get it done. So that's my whole plan. It's crazy, man. I'm like, how I run out of pages. So I don't know. My passport still got 4 years on it. 4 or 5 years still on my passport, and I'm already out of pages. And I hate that they just don't add pages to it. You got to get a whole nother passport. God, I can't wait till they start digital passports so we don't got to do all of this. Now, them countries that don't have the infrastructure, of course, you got to do the physical thing. But the countries that are going to implement the digital passports, I can't wait. I knew it was a matter of time some regular passport holders will start marrying. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of them out there marrying. I got so many married passport bros on my TikTok channel. It don't make no sense. Married, for real, for real. I love this travel-ish. I'm trying to decide where to go for 2026. Yeah, I definitely will. I told you, my goal is Thailand. My goal is Thailand. I wanted to go there before Mike come back in this direction. That's why I'm, like, Mike in Malaysia right now. So I can't wait to see his opinion on. I'm gonna go live with Mike. I'm going to go live with Mike so he could talk about Malaysia live. So y'all be prepared for that live stream and most certainly donate to that live stream. Donate to the live stream. So I'll give you a heads up. Like I'll put it like a schedule so that way y'all know when we going live. Really, I'm going back to Thailand in February, March. Yeah, I'm trying to go there in January. I'm trying to go to Thailand around my birthday. And then when I come back, I get settled for a couple weeks, and then I head out to Carnival and then Columbia with the fellas. Me, J. Clyde, and Grego at it again. Hopefully, Burt Ross will be there. Mike will be there. Hopefully, Average Man Unplugged will be there in February. And hopefully some other fellas come out to Medellin, and we gonna have a blast out there, yo. Bro, Malaysia is so slept on. I gotta go back there. To yeah, he's in Malaysia chilling for a week. He'll be out there for a week. So we got time. I want to give him some days to see how it is, go around, and then I want his true thoughts on it. So we definitely gonna do a live stream, man. I heard those tacos over there, that spot over there. I heard those tacos are good. All they doing in Florida is bringing in dishes from overseas to Florida. Florida's man, this is just wild how you feel that you're not even in the United States of America. How do you go to a U.S. state and don't feel that you're not part of the U.S.? That right there is powerful. That right there is powerful. I seen a video where ICE agents are coming after these Hispanic guys, and they in this little work van. They one of them Sprinter vans type work with ladder racks on the top of it, and they actually trying to get away and run, but they got caught. That's crazy, man. And that's what I was telling people. People was like, "Oh, things are gonna dry up for." I said, "Yo, y'all don't understand. This is. I hate that this is happening to a lot of good guys that I met, and they were forced to go back overseas, or. But for the guys that's in the trades, this is going to open up the door for them to get more opportunity now that you have a lot of these people being shipped overseas back to their countries. They don't want to go back, but it's what the U.S. is doing. Let's be respectful and say she's former because she wants way more traffic with him. And then who is this? I don't know who you talking about. You don't know Jay Clyde's situation. I hope you ain't talking about that. She is not no former nothing. She's a strict working lady, a job, a 9 to 5 type of lady. She is nowhere near like that. So I don't know if you mentioned it, you meaning that or something else. But she's nowhere near like that. Never sold her body. Never did none of that. Oh, okay. He said not Jay Clyde. Oh, okay. Oh, so he's talking about something else. Yeah. I don't suggest that dudes try to marry ex prostitute. I don't suggest it. Because when push come to shove and somebody got the right price for it, she gonna do it. She gonna take that money when you here back here in the States. She gonna take that money. The right offer, she's gonna do it. That's a scary situation to be in because your heart, now you're putting your heart in everything, and you find that your girl's still out there on the street getting bent over. Crazy. Crazy. But other than that, I gotta get some sleep. Long day tomorrow, man. Appreciate y'all joining my live stream. Appreciate the donations from Rollout Darrow and Travel Quadruple 4. Y'all always show love. Shout out to Mark B. Mark B, salute, brother. And anybody else that want to donate, um, appreciate y'all. But before I go, let's talk about this. Fellas got to start listening to the OGs that been there. Don't think because don't think that every person is bad or ulterior motive overseas, but you just got to watch your back. Let's just say that. And by watching your back, you got to make different decisions. If you got to go into remote places in these countries, people are using these dating sites. Um, the prostitutes are flowing in these dating sites, acting like normal women. But the way they talk, you could tell that they had a career full of lower members in their lives. So you'll know that chick is like that. That lady, that woman, whatever you call her, except the B word. But you got to know how to maneuver. You just have to. And you can't blame everything on the women. You got to take onus of your actions and who you decide to choose. Now, do I fully? No. You just got to watch your back. Um, you got to watch what you eat overseas. You got to watch what you drink. You got to watch. Because not even the threat of somebody doing something to you, your system might not agree with what's being fed to you, and it might be so much germs in their kitchens and all of that. You can put fish in grease all day. If it's a contaminant in there, it's gonna harm you. That's why every time I see those Indian videos, and then they even doing the AI versions where they making videos where they sticking their feet in the dishes and so um, they said a lot of people get sick when they visit India and they eat plates from India. A lot of those guys get sick. So just watch what you're eating. And even if you're not in an area where you're doing that, still gotta just watch the health issues in a lot of these places, especially if they got rats running around, they're cool with it. Dogs in kitchens and they don't mind pests walking around and nah. I want to skip those countries. And when I go to those countries, I do strictly American restaurants. I just me. And I told you, I warned y'all about this. Somebody caught dengue fever. The very thing I said the other night, somebody caught it. Dengue fever is high in places in the United States of America where people from overseas are going. Let me repeat. Dengue fever is high. Places like Florida, when a mosquito bites you, you get feverish. You start red rash skin. You begin to spit blood, puke blood, shit blood, piss blood. Dengue fever is no joke. If you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. So just be careful when you, even in American states, just be careful. Dengue fever is real. It's real, and you'll feel like you dying when you get it. So I know somebody that recently, one of my workers, um, man, he sound like he's wow, and he's a Cuban guy and caught it. Mosquito bit him. Bad news from there. So when y'all go over to these countries, make sure y'all have y'all off. See, it's not about women trying to put something in your drinks. It's, it's insects that can harm you in certain countries, let alone the United States of America. So wear your off, be prepared. Um, but yeah, and there's nothing you can do. Go look up dengue fever, and there's solutions to you, like precursors for it. No, only thing you do is spray off on your body. Hopefully nothing bites you or pricks you or anything like that. Because all it has to do is a mosquito get you and they inject it right into your system. Scary. A mosquito. That's crazy. Y'all talking about guns and all that can knock you off. A mosquito can knock you off. Crazy. Crazy when that little mosquito can knock you off. So just look at what areas, malaria and all of that type of stuff. Just look at where you're going. Especially is on the continent. The only place that's known as the continent, which is Africa. If you're going there, visit there. Just be careful. You might not have got it the first time, second time, or third time. You could get it the fifth time. You can get it the 20th time. Doesn't matter. So just protect yourself in these countries. It's not just all about women. So salute to y'all, man. Peace.